With Rekkid Talk, we are going to do 5 records in 5 minutes, and the theme today is the month of January. This is the third of a 12-part series, but you're saying, hey, January is the first month. Why is it the third part of the series? Because I arbitrarily started it in November. You can go back and watch November, December if you want. But let's talk about January. So what happens in January? New Year's Day happens. U2 on the War album in 1983, which, by the way, is 40 years old, had a song called New Year's Day. And, of course, they were already kind of pompous and full of themselves at that point. We love U2 for that. And you can see they're out there, the black and white and cold. Nothing changes on New Year's Day. And so, a couple weeks late, because I decided to get up like Vinyl Tag and Best of 2020 first. Another group that did a song about New Year, the Breeders on The Last Splash. You know this most for Cannonball, which was the second song, but the first song is called New Year. And so, of course, I am the sun, I am the new year. So it's going to get warmer for if you're into the Breeders on New Year's. And this is an album from 1993, so this album is turning 30 years old. There's also a lot of anniversaries in this week's episode, just by happenstance based on what I picked. All right, let's get to record number 3. Let's do some Billy Bragg, Tooth and Nail. And so this is a latter-day Billy Bragg album from 2013, and that is now ready for its 10th anniversary reissue, remastering, whatever. And the first song on this album is called January Song. And I listened to the song. It sounds pretty much like a Billy Bragg song. You know, he's mad at politicians, and he plays his acoustic guitar. But it's cool because he's Billy Bragg. And there's a lyric sheet in here. And I read along to the lyric sheet for January Song. And there's nothing mentioning January or New Year's or the time of day at all. So I'll be honest, I have absolutely no idea why Mr. Bragg decided to name that January Song. But he did, and I felt that was enough of a reason to talk about it today. And again, this is Tooth and Nail album from 2013, 10 years ago now. Now let's go really old, and let's go to the 45 realm for my fourth choice. And so, at least if you live in most of America, this would have been very appropriate for me to be showing right around Christmas time, because it was cold as fuck in most of the United States back in late December. And so this is Tony and Joe with The Freeze. This is a rock and roll single from 1958. It's a pretty standard formulaic rock and roll song. Features a lot of saxophone. Fun little 2 minutes or so. It was on Era Records. I looked up Tony and Joe on Discogs because I didn't really know much about them. They had a handful of singles in the late 50s and early 60s, and that was pretty much it for them. And I think this song, The Freeze, which I think did make the top 40, I think this was their biggest hit, and not that it was a huge hit. I kind of like how they just basically stapled on this pink piece of paper with The Freeze, 89 cents by Tony and Joe. And then you can see on the other side that's just stapled over a company sleeve for this particular record label. And we're almost out of time, so we better show you. We're going to show you Local H, 12 Angry Months every month. Because Local H made an album in 2008, 15 years ago. 1958, 65 years ago. And so the first song, the January song, is called The One with Kid. So it starts off as a slow song. It almost sounds like a spaghetti western at the beginning. And then about 2 minutes in, it sounds like, oh, are we on track number 2? But no, we're still on track number 1. But now it's more of a hard alternative Local H-y sounding record. And they did a lot of stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. And so we're going to do a lot of stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start in 2023. 15 years ago, this album came out.